So today I'm in the dog patch. It is kind of, the industrial part in the city. I thought this would be a good place to shoot because today I'm shooting with Ilford XP2 400, which is a black and white film. That is also, you can also develop it in the C-41 color process. So I thought that was, interesting enough to kind of warrant, taking a look at this film. And then, it has been a while since I've last shot black and white, about since the beginning of the pandemic now. And that was because of the time, I was taking a, black and white class where I learned, to first develop black and white film. But, I haven't, found a reason to shoot it since. So, I think that will be interesting, also getting back into shooting black and white film as well as, just taking a look at this film in general. Now, how is it even possible to develop a black and white film in the C-41 chemistry? So that is because XP2 is a chromogenic film, which means that this isn't a silver-based film, which is what, most black and white films are, and that the final image is actually derived from the, dyes that you usually find in the C-41 chemistry emulsion. And because of that chemistry process, this film, offers the same flexibility as you would get, with color negative film. And because of that, you also do have some flexibility with the ISO as well. So this film can work perfectly well in the range, between 50 to 800 ISO. So that, is pretty, impressive for, the range there. And then, also when I was just shooting with this film, I was shooting in very, contrasty situations where I had some extreme highlights and extreme shadows all in the same frame. But, somehow everything just came out perfectly exposed, nothing was super dark or super blown out, which was pretty, impressive. Now, even though my images, did come out perfectly exposed, even when I did have, super bright highlights and super dark shadows all in the same image, my images still came out, pretty flat. And, black and white film has, usually has a lot of contrast to it. And, this film is supposed to have, a good amount of contrast to it. But for me, it just felt a little bit too flat as well. It just wasn't, enough for me. So then in the editing side of it, I did have to add, a little bit more contrast to it. Which, this isn't the end of the world either. It is pretty simple to just add it. So it's not, a deal breaker or anything when shooting this film. So far, one thing that I have, had to be more aware of when, I am shooting is kind of, my compositions. Because usually, when I'm shooting color, what draws me mostly to shooting an image is kind of the colors of it. And, with black and white, there are no colors. So I have had to pay a lot more attention to my composition. Not saying that I don't, pay attention to it when I'm shooting color. I just have to be, especially more mindful now because it is kind of the main focus of my image along with subject matter instead of, with color, all three of those things, tying in together. So I was not expecting to come across this nice view of the city skyline and the bridge, but I will take it. These houses are giving me major Whoville vibes. It's freaking me out a bit. Alright, so that was my last shot, so I'm now done with the roll. And I've also walked 4.83 miles and taken over 10,000 steps, so pretty productive day. At the end of the day, this is basically, a consumer black and white film. It's a little bit cheaper than normal black and white film, and it is also just a lot easier and quicker to develop, with that C-41, chemistry process. You can take it to like a lab, and you can maybe get, like a day turnaround time on these images, which is going to be nice if, you have like a deadline, or, if you just kind of quickly want to see your kind of results to your images. And, the XP, line has also been around for a while as well. This isn't kind of like a just, brand new thing that's come out. This line has been around since 1981. So the fact that, this, even existed back then and is still, very popular and, still has a place in black and white film is, pretty impressive. But overall, this is a really nice film. It's super sharp. It has, low grain to it, and kind of just the flexibility and latitude of this film is pretty impressive. Not even really considering the fact that, looking at like black and white or color, just kind of across any film, that ISO range is pretty impressive. And like I mentioned, the kind of the low contrast flat image, it's not really the end of the world. It's pretty simple to fix, so it's not like a deal breaker or, or anything at all. I kind of just mentioned it, just, put it out there. But, at the end of the day, that C-41 color process just comes, in handy so much, if you do have kind of like a quick deadline, or, if you just kind of quickly want to see your images, or like an easy way, to develop your black and white film. Like, this is, the easiest solution out there, and, also a pretty good solution out there as well.